We have breaking news from the NHL. It appears to be pretty significant. It looks as though the Maple Leafs and Brendan Shanahan may be heading for a divorce. Shanahan has been granted permission by the Leafs to speak with the New York Islanders regarding their vacancy. Lots of speculation if he'll end up back in New York as his next gig. And is there any chance that he'll take one of the Leafs' top players who's also a UFA with him along the way? We'll discuss that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty significant news regarding the Toronto Maple Leafs and some potential movement here within their team, particularly in their front office. We got word today that the New York Islanders had requested permission to speak with team president Brendan Shanahan. That came from Chris Johnson of TSN and The Athletic earlier today, and now it's been confirmed by multiple reporters, including Elliot Friedman, that they indeed have been given permission. So to me, that signals that he's probably on his way out. We know that Shanahan is on an expiring contract with the Maple Leafs. We know that they've had 9 years, with this playoff, consecutive run here of not getting over the hump, and that change is likely coming. We do know that, obviously Shanahan had what they referred to as the Shanahan plan. So lots of speculation about what the Leafs are going to do here, but I think the one thing that most people agree on, that it's the most likely first shoe to drop, is Shanahan to be no longer with the club. They don't really need to fire him. He's on an expiring contract. I'm going to say they probably will be announced that it's going to be mutually agreed to part ways. At least that's my gut reaction. I'd be quite surprised at this point if they end up signing him to a new contract. Why would they give him permission to speak with another NHL club if they wanted to keep him? That's usually not the way things go. Apparently, there is a big board meeting in MLSE tomorrow, so it's expected that either later tomorrow or maybe on Friday, we'll start to gain a little bit more clarity around what changes Keith Pelley may be looking to make. Apparently, at this board meeting, because the structure we know is changing, with Rogers going to be owning 75%, and it's believed that he's going to be looking for some structure and some organizational changes within the Raptors and the Maple Leafs, and that's believed to be discussed at tomorrow's board meeting. And there's also been reports that Shanahan is supposed to be meeting with MLSE tomorrow to discuss his future. So to me, this all points to the most likely scenario of Shanahan moving on. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a case of him being fired. He's on an expiring contract and what have you. So the New York Islanders, we know, are looking for either a president and a GM. We don't know how they're going to structure their newly, redefined front office here, but we know Lou Lamoriello is not going to be the general manager anymore. There's been some level of speculation that he could remain as some sort of advisory role, but we haven't really been able to confirm that. There's been multiple conflicting reports out there, and everything we've heard, it kind of led to believe that Lou probably won't be involved, but I don't know if we can completely 100% that. Would I be shocked if I found out he was even an advisor? No, but at this point, we're expecting that he's completely out of the picture. But Shanahan, of course, has a long history of being a high-ranking executive, has worked with the league, has worked with the Maple Leafs. You can say what you want about the lack of playoff failures. Shanahan did do some good with the Maple Leafs. Obviously, they've had a lot of great runs as a regular season team, won the division this past year. They've made the playoffs all these years in a row. And I know that's not the end-all, be-all, but there are teams that would love to be in that spot, that have been inconsistent with in and out of the playoffs, or they've been out of the playoffs for an extended time, what have you, right? So has it been perfect? No. Has he learned from it? Hopefully. The big thing for me, the big downfall on the whole Shanahan plan here is the fact that they keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on this core four group of guys with the Leafs. To me, they should have acknowledged a long time ago that they're all individually really good players. They're all highly skilled, but it's not the right mix of heart and soul players to get you over the hump in a deep playoff run to win the Stanley Cup. And I think that's just, at the end of the day, it's no disrespect to any of them. They're all phenomenally talented players, but I don't know that individually as a group, like you put them all those individuals as that group, if they're going to be able to get it done, which is why we've seen all these years of not getting it done, right? So it's expected we're going to see bigger change within the Leafs, not just in management. We've heard some rumblings that other parts of the front office could be streamlined, is the word that Elliotte Friedman used today. It may mean, I don't know that Brad Treliving is on the hot seat. I've seen conflicting reports. Some people think that maybe they might, but would it make sense for them to let go of Craig Berube, who had one season behind the bench and won the division for the first time in a long time? And as much as they didn't get over the hump, they went further into round two. I don't think this is fair to put this on Berube and for him to be out after 1 year. And does it make sense for everybody above Berube to be gone at this point? I don't think so. I honestly, I know we've heard the rumblings about Treliving. I personally think he's going to stick around, but until we hear differently, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it runs deeper than that, but I think it's going to be more of a case of things being streamlined. We know that in the past, the Maple Leafs have been a team that's kind of flexed their financial muscle about not having a salary cap for the support staff and the front office staff and all that. So we know that they have a much bigger support staff in front office than most teams. So from what I've been hearing from reputable sources is that they're going to streamline that, and we're probably going to see a bunch of cuts to trim down that type of stuff. I don't know about Treliving. We'll wait and see. But if Shanahan does end up with the Islanders, we know he's got a great long relationship with Lou Lamoriello. If Lou does have any influence, or even if it's just a recommendation to ownership, even if he's not going to be involved, we know that ownership there really trusted him and certainly had nothing but the utmost respect for him, which is why he remained there as long as he did. Could Shanahan try to bring a big UFA with him in Mitch Marner? I mean, we know Marner is highly, expected at this point. That the odds are that he's going to depart Toronto. Many people think it's time for him to go to a new market, fresh start, quieter place, a little less scrutiny. It's not that far from home. I know Matt Martin might not even be playing anymore, but we know Marner is very close with Martin. And he's going to be, even if he doesn't play, he's going to be in the area. He's going to be connected and around the team. Just makes you wonder. It's all just speculation at this point. None of this may happen. It's possible that Shanahan meets with the Islanders and maybe they decide not to hire him. That's always a possibility too. We know Marc Bergevin's in the mix. We know Matthew Darche is in the mix. If Shanahan, who's never been a GM, is involved in the Islanders organization, then I would fully suspect that you're going to see a GM under him. I would think there's more than likely would be a less experienced GM, let them kind of be groomed, but you don't know, right? Would Bergevin or Darche have any issues with working under Shanahan, or would they rather a scenario where they report directly to the owner? I don't really know what their preferences are on that point. I know in Bergevin's past role with Montreal, he reported directly to Jeff Molson, the owner. So hard to say how this is all going to play out, but ownership in Long Island is a little bit different as well, trying to be a little bit less hands-on. So, Shanahan kind of could be that president role where he's more of the representative of the owners, except like he has in Toronto, except it's a whole different structure. Could be very, very different. So again, let me know what your thoughts are. Should the Islanders go down the road of hiring Shanahan? Could he pull a player like Marner with them? I mean, obviously we know the Islanders are a team that's bound to have reasonably significant change, but I didn't really necessarily think that this would all be possible, even though I've kind of had a gut feeling and hinted at it before that I kind of wondered if we could see something like this, but it sounds like it's more possible than we might think. But the Marner stuff, of course, is just really, that's just a gut feeling on my part. No guarantee he'd want to go there, but I know after the expiring contract now of John Tavares leaving the Islanders to go to the Leafs in the similar time of his career, how Islanders fans reacted for them to pull off a heist and grab one of the top Leaf players to go into Long Island. It's a compelling storyline, if nothing else, but is it the right thing to do for the player and for the organization? We'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely something worth monitoring and following here in the coming days. Let me know your thoughts on this potential news of Shanahan possibly joining the Islanders, or at the very least the fact that he's likely out in Toronto and is considering next opportunities by the looks of things. So let me know your thoughts on that. If there's any influence on Leaf players that could end up with him in Long Island, if he indeed does go there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.